Our planet is filled with extremes, from places with the most extreme weather to those with the most extremely dangerous creatures. And in this video, we're going to discuss some of Earth's most extreme places, a couple of which will likely blow your mind. But let's start this off with the hottest place on Earth. And if you think you know where on the planet you'd go to find the absolute peak of heat, well, this might just be a surprise that makes you sweat. Because it isn't in the Sahara or any other famous desert on some of the hottest continents. It's actually in the appropriately named Furnace Creek Ranch in Death Valley, California, where on July 10, 1913, it hit a scorching 134 degrees Fahrenheit or 56.7 Celsius, making it the hottest air temperature ever recorded on the planet. Death Valley's extreme heat is due to its unique geographic location. It's the lowest, driest, and hottest national park in the US, nestled below sea level and surrounded by high mountain ranges that trap in the heat. And we're just talking about air temperature here. Surface temperature has been recorded as high as 201 Fahrenheit, not far off from the boiling point of water. And speaking of water, how about the deepest place on Earth? It's a place so far beneath the surface that it seems almost unworldly and could even fit the world's tallest mountain with plenty of room to spare. The record-breaking deepest place on the planet is the Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, located in the western Pacific Ocean between Japan and the Philippines. At an astonishing depth of about 36,000 feet, or 11,000 meters, it's the lowest point on the planet, nearly 7 miles beneath the ocean's surface. To put things into perspective, Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, could easily fit into the Challenger Deep and still be more than a mile underwater. The Challenger Deep is located about 200 miles or 320 kilometers from the nearest landmass, and the pressure down there is over 1,000 times stronger than at sea level, with temperatures just above freezing at 34 degrees Fahrenheit or 1 degree Celsius. The combination of all these conditions and the pitch-black darkness makes it extremely difficult to explore, which is why scientists estimate we've only discovered about 5% of what's hidden down there. So it still holds countless mysteries waiting to be uncovered. And sticking with the topic of water, let's check out the wettest place on Earth. Have you ever heard that lousy weather can have a negative impact on your mood or mental health? Well, if that's true, then you gotta feel bad for the people living in the place we're about to discuss, which is recognized as the wettest on Earth. A place where it rains at least 2/3 of the year or more, and about 3 to 4 times more than even the wettest rainforest. And the village with this unfortunate label is Mawsynram, located in northeastern India, which receives an average of 467 inches of rainfall every year. That's about 39 feet of rain annually. Although the place with the record for the highest rainfall ever recorded in one single year was in the nearby village of Cherrapunji, which was 1,042 inches in 1861. Mawsynram's extreme rainfall is due to its unique location at the edge of the Khasi Hills, where moist air from the Bay of Bengal is forced upwards, creating a rain shadow effect. The moist air hits the mountains and condenses, falling as rain. The area's climate is so wet that locals have built their homes with thick roofs designed to withstand the heavy downpour, which occurs about 200 to 250 days out of the year, and nearly daily during monsoon season from June to September. But that unbearable weather is nothing compared to this next place, which many consider to be the deadliest on Earth. Now, there are many deadly places on the planet for a variety of reasons, and identifying the absolute deadliest is quite a challenge. But the Danakil Depression in northeast Ethiopia undeniably stands as one of the most formidable contenders. So what exactly makes it so deadly? Well, the temperatures often exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 54 Celsius, making it unbearably hot. And the region is also plagued by toxic gases emitted by its volcanic activity and making the air dangerously unbreathable. Volcanic craters, such as the constantly active Erta Ale, also produce flowing lava, adding to the region's hostile nature. The area's dryness and lack of fresh water further make survival there complicated, with no natural sources of hydration anywhere. And the rugged, treacherous terrain of salt flats, combined with the sulfur springs and volcanoes, makes navigation difficult, which is why most people who do choose to visit the area often only do so with experienced tour guides and special equipment. So we've explored 2 of the hottest places. Now let's check out the coldest place on Earth. And if you're wondering where that is, then prepare yourself for a chilling revelation, although not much of a surprising one. The location recognized as the coldest on the planet is in Antarctica, specifically the East Antarctic Plateau, where temperatures were recorded at a mind-boggling negative 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 89.2 Celsius back in 1983. It was recorded at the Soviet Union's Vostok station and currently stands as the record for the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth. And the average temperature in the area during the winter ranges from -70 to -80 Fahrenheit, or around -60 Celsius, and even a bitingly cold -20 to -40 in the summer. The extreme cold is largely due to Antarctica's unique polar location on the planet and the lack of sunlight most of the year, plus the fact that the East Antarctic Plateau sits at an altitude of over 10,000 feet, or 3,048 meters above sea level, making it the highest and coldest part of the continent. So cold that very few animals even exist in the region, and only microscopic organisms have adapted to survive on the plateau itself. So to call it a remote location would be an understatement. But if you wanted to go to the place that's the absolute most remote on Earth, then you need to visit a place called Point Nemo, which isn't exactly somewhere you'd go on a casual weekend trip. It was named after Captain Nemo from the novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and it's known for being an extremely remote and largely lifeless area located in the South Pacific Ocean. It's more than 1,450 nautical miles away from the nearest land masses, and it's so isolated that it's known as the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. It's also the farthest place you can go on the planet from any human activity. In fact, it's so far out that even few aquatic creatures settle there, since a rotating ocean current keeps nutrient-rich waters away from the area, and the huge distance from land means that the nutrient runoff from coastal waters doesn't reach the area easily. So marine creatures who might otherwise settle near Point Nemo simply have no food to thrive. And because of this, space agencies have designated it a safe place to coordinate space junk drops from the spacecrafts that have deorbited to Earth at the end of their usefulness. It's home to the remains of over 260 spacecraft and satellites that have fallen into the Pacific Ocean after deorbiting. Now let's head back to land and discuss what's arguably the most hazardous place on Earth. Although, unlike the Danakil Depression, the hazard doesn't come naturally. The dangers in this hazardous place stem from a nuclear disaster that occurred back in 1986. And if you like this video so far and appreciate the work that's gone into it, I'd appreciate if you gave it a like, shared it with someone else you think might like it, or shared a thought or opinion in the comments. So you'd probably want to avoid the site in the Ukraine where the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded due to the hazardous amount of material still affecting the area today. When the accident first happened, it released a massive amount of radioactive material into the air, contaminating it as well as the soil and water for miles. The region remains highly dangerous due to the radioactive isotopes which persist in the environment for decades. Even today, certain areas within the exclusion zone, which is the area surrounding the exact site, are too dangerous for human life, with radiation levels way too high to safely inhabit. The nearby Pripyat River and the Chernobyl cooling pond are also contaminated, and in addition to the power plant, there are also other industrial sites in the region that contribute to the hazardous pollution. But let's step away from the danger for a moment and talk about something that might be a surprise to you, and that's the highest point on Earth. Although visiting there is also pretty dangerous. And if you think we're talking about the highest peak of the tallest mountain, then you'd be right. But if you thought the highest point was at the top of Mount Everest, then you might be surprised to discover you're in fact wrong. Because although Mount Everest is the tallest mountain above sea level, it's actually not the tallest from Earth's core, since our planet isn't a perfect sphere but actually bulges around the center. This means those living near the equator are higher in elevation than those further from it. And since Mount Everest is near the bottom of the bulge, but Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador is closer near the center, its peak is actually further from Earth's core, or closest to reaching the stars, making this the actual highest point on Earth. Standing at 6,384 kilometers from Earth's center, or 3,967 miles, which is around 2 kilometers or 1.5 miles more than the peak of Mount Everest. So if you're looking to be as close to the stars as possible, Mount Chimborazo is the place to go. But if you wanted to spend time in the most volcanic place on Earth, which who knows why anyone would want to do that, but if you did, do you know where you'd have to go? Well, broadly speaking, the most volcanic place is in an area on the edge of the Pacific Ocean where tectonic plates are constantly shifting, causing a massive number of volcanic eruptions. This place is known as the Ring of Fire, a horseshoe-shaped stretch of hundreds of volcanoes. In fact, around 80% of the world's active volcanoes reside here, and it's also responsible for the majority of volcanic-related fatalities. But if we want to be more specific, Indonesia is home to the world's largest concentration of active volcanoes, with 129 of them spread across 17 of the country's 34 provinces. But finally, we're going to check out the most interesting, in my opinion, of all the places we've discussed, and the most electrifying. In fact, if you think you've ever experienced an intense storm, you haven't seen anything unless you've witnessed the most electrified place on Earth, where the sky lights up with electric fury almost every night, and you can see hundreds of lightning strikes per hour, transforming the night sky into a chaotic light show that has to be seen to be believed. This wonder of nature occurs over Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela. The stunning lake is home to the famous Catatumbo lightning, where the storms rage with unbelievable frequency, making it the most electrically charged place on the planet, with the storms producing up to 280 lightning strikes per hour during peak times. This incredible phenomenon occurs when warm, moist air from the Caribbean Sea collides with cooler air from the Andes Mountains, creating an unstable atmosphere perfect for powerful thunderstorms. The lightning here is so frequent and intense that it's been a constant in the lives of locals for centuries. And while scientists have studied the storms for years, they still don't fully understand why Catatumbo lightning is confined to this one specific area. But that's it for these 10 most extreme places, so if you want to support the channel, check out another video now, and make sure to follow at EI Explained on X and Everything Interesting Explained on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time for more of Everything Interesting Explained.